And now this afternoon, we're talking with Catherine Brandhorst, who's the incumbent Seat 4 Mosquito Board Commissioner. And we usually start these out, if you don't mind, with just telling us who you are. We have a lot of new people in the county as well. And then why you want to do this again.
Again, this much for the
Or
same
more.
reasons I did it the first time.
Okay.
I stood before the people of St. Augustine 4 years ago, and I promised to decrease expenses and improve service. At the end of my 4-year term, our fund balance will be $1 million richer. So rather than depleting our reserves, I added $1 million to it. So I accomplished that goal of reducing expenses. The other goal was to improve service. We have, even with the rain that we've had lately, we haven't needed any extra help answering phones for service requests. We've had everything running quite smoothly. I called yesterday. Rudy's out of town, and I told him, I said, Rudy stopped by here on his way out of town and just wanted me to know that he wouldn't be here. So if you need me, I can answer phones. I said, but that's the extent of what I can offer right now, because I'm not employed by them. I am, in fact, the only person on the Board of Commissioners who has actually killed a mosquito.
Do tell. That's a good story.
Yeah, I moved to St. Augustine in 1995 after I sold my pest control business. I still had another business that I ran from our Florida office. We did business in Georgia, Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee. A lot of our business was chain accounts. Wendy's, Hardee's, KFC, those guys, the bottom of the barrel. The most difficult.
KFC's the bottom of the barrel. Not where this is coming from. Okay.
Yeah, but as far as we were concerned, they were always dirty.
I'm sure they'll be pleased to hear that.
Ask him when you go in there. Tell him to go over to the cabinet beside the drive-through window and look behind it. I'm confident of what he'll find.
Okay.
Yeah, it'll be very interesting. It'll be an eye-opener for you. I'm no longer in the pest control business, but who knows what I may do in the future. Hopefully I'll win this election and continue to do something that's not so strenuous, not so time-consuming, and something that I enjoy very much. I feel like I add a great deal of knowledge to the mosquito control district. Rudy consults with me at least on a weekly basis, and sometimes more often.
Did you guys do mosquitoes in your pest control thing, or was that more like the roach and vermin type?
We did everything. Everything
You sprayed
except...
outside mosquitoes? From a private pest control business?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, you could do that.
You had trucks and sprayers and... Okay.
Yep. Mosquitoes were something that we did not do on a routine basis, but we did it at anyone's request. So don't think, I'm trying to, pull the wool over your eyes and tell you I'm a mosquito control company. I wasn't. I was a pest control company, And the realm of my experience included mosquitoes.
Okay.
Okay. So I brought a lot of knowledge with me. One of the first things I looked at was I went through the P&L and looked at the percentages and compared those to the percentages that I ran in my business. With full-time and seasonal employees, AMCD runs about 71% in labor and labor costs. My labor and labor costs were around 34%. I did not provide insurance. I provided an insurance stipend so they could buy their own insurance. Sound familiar?
You were Obamacare before it was Obamacare.
Which is somewhat true. I did it a lot better than him, though. I did a lot of things to increase the morale of the employees here. For instance, in my company, I gave everyone a week's vacation, an extra week's pay, and I paid for a condo anywhere they wanted to go for a week. And then they had another week that they were on their own, do whatever you want to do, have a good time, see you when you get back. And everybody covered for everyone else. It was a very well-run concept. My belief was that if you took care of your employees, then they would take care of your customers and you wouldn't have complaints. And guess what? It worked. It actually worked. We took care of our employees, they took care of the customers, and we had an extremely loyal customer base. Some of our larger accounts, like Wendy's, that we did in Georgia, Florida, Alabama, and Tennessee, we did all their stores. We would host a golf outing for them every year, and pay for everything, open bar, hors d'oeuvres, the works. And you may sit and think, God, that sounds awfully expensive. Well, I gave the country club that hosted it free pest control for a year.
So how did you translate all this to raising morale at the county? Do they get a condo?
They don't give a condo. They won't let me give anything away. But I do manage to listen to them and talk to them. And every time I see an employee, whether it's walking around outside, in a meeting, regardless, I take that opportunity to ask them, is there anything I can do for you? Do you have everything you need to do your job? And quite a few of them were taken aback. Nobody had ever asked them that before. Consequently, service improved.
Do you think that's because, like, some of the things in the budget that y'all approved, you know, a perhaps 5% increase in their salary and some of the other things that are coming down the pike?
Well, they got a 5% increase because they hadn't had an increase in 5 years. So when we gave them that increase, it was well deserved, and not really, I would not consider it over what they should have expected.
Is that a done deal? Has that already been approved, the 5%?
That was done last year. That was done last year. One of the ways we were able to save money with our staff, we had 2 employees who resigned. Yeah. So when we let them go, we decided to just eliminate the position. One of them was a supervisor. However, he was only supervising 4 people. He really wasn't needed. The base station, which is the main station where we operate out of, where all the corporate offices are and where we store chemicals and gas and all those wonderful things on Anastasia Island. So when we eliminated those positions, the net savings to us was around $100,000. One of the other things that I did was look at the way we were buying chemicals and who we were buying chemicals from, and did it make sense? Shouldn't we be using more vendors and I just went blank.
Vendors or the
Yeah,
chemicals.
we were
You're saving money on
using,
chemicals.
yeah, I thought we should use more vendors and make those vendors aware of the fact that they were competing with each other. And lo and behold, the prices dropped like a rocket. We saved $197,000 over the 4-year period in chemical cost.
I have another question.
Yes,
Is there a strategic plan? Are you guys operating with a strategic plan or a 5-year plan or a long-range plan for where you're going? You got this new building.
we have just completed updating our 5-year plan. I have not seen it yet.
Who put
Gary,
it together? Who put it together?
Gary Howell worked on it first and came back with, with some very good selection, some good ideas, some different ways to do things. He came up with some ideas, ideas on how to save money. He really helped me as far as achieving my goals as chair.
So there's a strategic plan that I can get my hands on the website, or?
It's not published yet, but if you would like to have one, I'll get you one.
Awesome.
Okay. I have not approved it, so don't take it as gospel.
It's a proposed plan.
It's a proposed plan, and when I get my little fingers on it, it will be a plan. And it'll be, hopefully, a plan that we can live with and learn to, learn to follow, and take each year and each item in that year and lay it out on a timeline so we know what to expect when. And of course, the employees have access to everything we do. So they're quite excited. They're quite excited about doing something new.
One of the big issues or big topics right now is the recent millage rate. Could you talk to us a little bit about the logic and the discussions on how you guys arrived at the rate that you did.
Okay. We took the cost of the new facility along with our fixed costs, the things that we knew we were going to have to pay for, and the things that we might have to pay for. And we took those things and put them together, prioritized them. Things that were not quite as important got pushed to the back, and things that were very important, like the new facility, got pushed to the front. We have the funds to build the facility. After we build the facility, we will have limited reserves. So the idea in raising the millage rate was to take those excess revenues, put them back into reserves, and invest them. I personally think that a number somewhere around $2 million would take care of us in the event of an epidemic of some sort, whether it's a mosquito-borne illness or whatever. Last night there was a program on TV about polio and how important that has become. The polio vaccine was eliminated, I guess about 35 years ago, and our vaccines have expired. Mine, yours, everybody at this table, I doubt very seriously had a vaccine within the last 35 years. That makes us a target for polio. Smallpox is in the same category. That vaccine only lasts approximately 30 years, and we are no longer protected against smallpox. And if you remember, that was quite an epidemic. It garnered the attention of the world, and we had to do something about it. When things like that started happening, where you had disease in epidemic proportions hitting St. Johns County, our brilliant forefathers decided this was the perfect time to open a mosquito control district to control the spread of those types of diseases.
Can mosquitoes carry smallpox and polio?
No, they can't.
Okay.
No, but it brought to attention all of the diseases that they can carry. And we thought, well, this is something we can do and we should protect ourselves from. Chikungunya, for example, which is in the Caribbean now, is effective. There's no effective vaccine against it. It's I don't know how best to. It's a risk. It's a risk. Anybody that travels will tell you it's a risk, and anybody that travels to the Caribbean should tell you don't. You should tell them don't go. It's there is no cure. It causes severe muscle spasms, joint pain, neck pain, leg pain, it's an extremely painful process to go through that disease. And it's hard for people to really understand how serious it is unless you look at the numbers. When I sent you the information for that article that ran on August 2nd, at that point, Chikungunya was growing at a rate of about 10,000 people per month. So it was growing fast, and still is. Dr. Shu has been to Haiti. There's a huge outbreak in Japan. He's been there to try and help them. He's very much in demand, and we are extremely lucky to have him. He's one of the most well-known scientists in his line of work.
Do y'all pay him for the travel?
Of
to
course.
Japan and
Yes, we more often than not, though, the host will pay for his expenses. In the case of Japan, they only wanted to pay his airfare, so we paid for his room and per diem.
Besides the construction of the new facility, what do you see are the top one or two challenges for the mosquito board over the next couple of years?
Well, the sudden appearance and spread of new diseases, something that we haven't seen in a long time. We haven't seen new diseases pop up that we don't have any way to treat. And it's not just us, it's in hospitals that have viruses that they can't treat. One of my friends was in the hospital with lung cancer, and she was taking breathing treatments. And a fungus grew inside her breathing tube, which led to pneumonia and eventually death. And that's because there was no known antibiotic to treat it.
What about number two? Number two for a challenge.
Number two for a challenge. Maintaining our ability to work within our budget. Dr. Shu likes to spend money. And I keep a very tight rein on his pen. I've been chairman of the finance committee since I was elected in 2010. So 11, 12, 13, 14, I've been chair of the finance committee. And there have been cases where, well, for example, he wanted to buy new chairs for the boardroom. I said, Rudy, we can't do that. We can't afford it. He had $4,000 in the budget for new chairs. I said, Rudy, you can buy a chair at Home Depot for $100. I said, if you really think you need a chair, go to Home Depot and buy one for $100. I said, but I will not authorize a $4,000 chair. It's not going to happen. We've got too many more important things and too many more irons in the fire, too much more to do. We just can't do that.
I noticed that your chemical budget line is growing from $138,000 this year to a little over $402,000 for next year. Can you elaborate on that a little?
Can I see the budget line? See where,
It's this one.
okay. I believe what he's anticipating is, he's anticipating more aerial treatment. Every time he goes in the air, to spray for mosquitoes, it costs around $225,000.
Every time?
Mhm.
Wow.
Yeah,
$250,000? Wow.
To spray mosquitoes at one time?
that's one time.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's extremely expensive. We've been able to do it,
You ought to
and
buy a couple helicopters, save that money.
well, actually, we are saving money by doing it that way. The insurance and a pilot and all the associated expenses that go along with a helicopter license to spray pesticides is outrageous. It's not I got it. It's not something that that we really need. We can we can treat from the ground actually more effectively because we can see the mosquitoes and where they are. If we discover a hot spot on the ground that we simply cannot handle, then we will do an aerial treatment. In the 4 years that I've been there, we have done one aerial treatment. Okay. But we always budget for at least one every year.
Okay. We're starting to run a little bit short on time, and we want to save a little bit of time at the end for you to talk
Okay.
about whatever you want to talk about. But I want to just ask quickly, what differentiates yourself from your opponent? And then fill us
My
in.
ex-
One question.
Yeah.
Okay, just my experience is what differentiates me from my opponents. I have 25 years experience owning 2 different pest control companies. So I'm the only person on the board who has actually run a business and managed a multi-million-dollar budget for the purpose of providing pest control to, and certainly not to citizens of a county, but to some very difficult customers. We handled the Westin Hotel, Marriott hotels, Wendy's, KFC, Hardee's, Burger King. You can go on and on. Plus, we did a lot of white linen. The more pricey the restaurant, the more they needed us because we guaranteed that they would not have any issues. And if they did, we came back at no charge and resolved them. So it was not a guarantee that you had to fulfill very many times. It's something that we did once or twice, and the word got out that we stood behind our guarantee and we were the company to go with, and we started treating restaurants and hotels faster than we could add them. As a matter of fact, 1992 almost bankrupted us because we had so many calls for new customers that it was hard to keep up with them.
Okay, my question is that this building, you have the money for it, and the money that you're going to be collecting from the citizens is going to go in your reserve account, correct?
Right, our
Okay.
savings account.
Your savings account. Will you have in that building fund money to put in furniture and office supplies and whatever in that building? Will it be complete, or is that going to be another surprise down the road?
No, it'll be complete. That includes landscaping, as well as
Furniture.
yeah, as well as clear,
Computers.
yeah, as well as keeping everything up.
Turnkey.
Okay, yep, that's what we're looking for, is a turnkey product. And we may from time to time use some of our own employees to fill in areas where they have expertise, where they can add benefit to the contractor that we've hired. We certainly don't need to hire a consultant to come in and supervise them. It just doesn't make sense. I've thought about it, and I simply cannot find anything that makes sense about it. It's, has anybody given you a good reason? Something we could hang our hats on if, God forbid, I don't win?
No?
No, do you have any final comments for us and for the audience who's watching this?
Yes, I do. My comments would be to be diligent with your own property. Walk around in your yard. Look for standing water. Look for plant trays that have water in them and empty them. Change your dog water every day. Protect yourself when you go outside. Use bug spray. Most of it it's just not harmful at all. There's no reason not to use it. We use Off on our dog, and she's had the best summer that she's ever had. Did that answer your question?
It does.
Yeah,
It
it's
does.
great, thank you.
Yeah, we want to thank you for coming in. We appreciate
Yes,
it.
Appreciate it.
Is that it?
That'll do it.